Does a Formula One Grand Prix actually end with a checkered flag? Because in Miami, the checkered flag meant absolutely nothing. Hours after the race finished, drivers were still under investigation. Penalties were still being handed out, and the final classification was still changing. Charles Leclerc gets hit with a massive 20-second penalty after trying to drag a damaged Ferrari home, and Max Verstappen gets penalised for crossing a line at pit exit. And meanwhile, multiple contact incidents during the race were simply waved through. Let it go. It's just racing. So now the paddock is asking a serious question. Is Formula One stewarding system becoming impossible to follow? This is All Motorsports Podcast, where the race results become race intelligence. After Miami, Kimi Antonelli still leads the Drivers' Championship after taking his third consecutive victory for Mercedes. Mercedes, they are continuing to lead the constructors' standings. But the real story after Miami isn't who won. It's whether fans can even trust the result when the race ends. Let's start with Charles Leclerc, because this is where the entire controversy exploded. Leclerc was fighting for position late in the race when he spun chasing Oscar Piastri and damaged the Ferrari. Reports from Formula1.com, Autosport, and the race confirm he then repeatedly cut corners while nursing the damaged car back to the finish because he couldn't turn. That's why. Now, here's the important part. The FIA decided that damage was not a justifiable reason for repeatedly leaving the circuit. Crazy. So Leclerc was effectively given a post-race drive-through penalty, converted into 20 seconds after the flag had been waved. And that dropped him from 6th to 8th, and that cost him championship points. So race fans that watched the race live weren't actually seeing the final result. And honestly, that's the bigger problem, because Max Verstappen, and honestly, that's where the bigger problem begins, because Max Verstappen was also penalised after the race. The FIA confirmed Verstappen crossed the white pit exit line during his stop and handed him a 5-second penalty. Oh my God, he crossed the white line. Now, here's where things get messy. During the race itself, nothing happened. No immediate action, no clear understanding for viewers. Then hours later, the penalty arrives. Leclerc's punishment was even bigger. Verstappen actually kept 5th place anyway. So fans are left trying to work out which penalties actually matter and when the race is supposedly over. But the really controversial part, the incidents that didn't get punished. Let's look at the contacts between cars. Because throughout the Miami Grand Prix, there were multiple aggressive battles and contact moments that stewards largely treated as racing incidents. Meanwhile, technical infractions and post-race reviews completely reshuffled the order afterwards. And this is where the frustration is growing with F1. Fans can accept penalties. We can. Drivers can accept penalties. They do. What people struggle with is the inconsistency. If aggressive racing is allowed, fine. If track limits matter, fine. But the system has to feel predictable. And right now, it doesn't. And this problem is getting bigger because of the 2026 regulations themselves. Because these are new era Formula One cars are already creating tension across the paddock, drivers have repeatedly raised concerns about closing speeds, G deployment, visibility, and drivability in traffic. After Ollie Behrman's huge 50G crash in Japan, that conversation intensified even more. And now Miami has added another layer because when races are increasingly decided through post-race investigations, fans start questioning the product itself. When the stewards become part of the show, the sport has a problem. And that's why Miami might end up mattering more than people realize, because Formula One is trying to balance two completely different things right now. The FIA wants cleaner regulation enforcement. The sport wants better racing. Teams want technical freedom and drivers want consistency. And us fans just want to understand what we're watching. And Miami showed how difficult that balance is becoming, because this wasn't just one controversial call. It was an entire race weekend where the final story only emerged hours after the podium celebrations had already happened. That's not just controversy, that is confusion. So here's my take after Miami. The issue isn't that penalties exist. Formula One has always had penalties. The issue is that fans are increasingly watching races without confidence they're actually seeing the final result. And when that happens, the sport risks damaging trust in the product itself. Because a Formula One race should end at the checkered flag, not in a steward's document three hours after. So here's the question. Is the FIA protecting the integrity of Formula One or making the sport harder to follow? Let me know in the comments below. Hit like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. This is All Motorsports Podcast, and I'll see you in the next one.